Hello everyone, how's your day? I hope you all are doing absolutely fine. Today, we're diving into the Entitled Parents subreddit with a story about an entitled mother who tried to take her son's car and then blamed his girlfriend when he finally pushed her out of his life. This one's a roller coaster of entitlement and drama. So let's get into it.
Entitled mother tried to take her son's car away, blamed his girlfriend when he pushed her out of his life. For context, I'm 22M, the oldest son of our mother, with two brothers, 18, 13. We each have different fathers, and though I mostly lived with my paternal grandparents growing up, my brothers both lived with her. The story I'm going to tell will be about the 18-year-old, who I'll call Jay for simplicity. Now our relationship with our mother has been strenuous at times, and it's become ever increasingly clear she's far from a saint. When she was with Jay's father, my aforementioned grandparents took note of the fact that I vehemently refused to go back to her house after visiting them. They told me they had to physically pry me away in order to get me to go, which they had to do legally. I lived with her then. One day, I went to visit them and they noticed I had suspicious bruises on my body. Both my mother and Jay's father claimed it was from me playing rough with a dog. When they took me to a doctor to check it out, the doctor told them they could have only been caused by physical abuse, which is what led me to living with my grandparents. I didn't remember any of this, but had it explained to me much later when I was in high school, and made a lot of sense since when I was younger, I would frequently flinch whenever people, such as my father, raised their hands for any reason. Now, it had been years since that happened, so I didn't hold any ill will towards her for it, figuring she was just as much a victim of it. Until one day she brought it up and revealed she still truly believed it was the dog. There was also her battle with alcoholism. I don't want to get too into it, given it's something she's gotten fixed, and I think it would be untactful to make fun of what was clearly a low point in her life. That said, I think it's important to note because it caused her to get into a lot of fights with our stepdad at the time, the father of the 13-year-old. Because I didn't live there, I only saw bits and pieces, but as you can imagine, my brothers had to live with it. With all of that said, the story this post is supposed to be about happened April, the week of the eclipse. I was visiting for the week, and my mother had Jay take her car to come pick me up. Things were going fine for the first day or so. Then it happened. Jay and his girlfriend were both at work. While our mom was asleep, she worked the night shift. So I was in the living room watching YouTube or something. She came out of her room, where she told me she was mad at Jay, before she went back to sleep. Apparently, he was supposed to refill the gas after he picked me up, and he forgot to. I didn't think much of it at the time. He made a mistake, she'd probably call him out on it, and that would be that. Later, when Jay got back home, we went out to his girlfriend's place to watch the eclipse. Then suddenly, I got a call from my mother, asking to talk to Jay. I handed the phone over. I could hear my mother screaming from across the driveway, while Jay, with the patience of a saint, tried to explain that he had made a mistake and apologized. And as if flying off the handle at him wasn't bad enough, she told him she was going to take his car away, which, he needed to get to work. Mind you, she had given him the car not long before, but even so that's still a majorly dick move and illegal, I'm certain. And also, she was mad because she had to visit the gas station before work. But as far as I know, she wasn't even late to work, she was just in a rush. She made it on time. And yet she was insistent that he had somehow fucked him over. Jay, in a voice that made it clear this was far from the first time something like this had happened, told her in no uncertain terms that he was done dealing with her and was leaving. And indeed, when we got back, he immediately started packing up his things to go and live with his girlfriend, where he still lives today. While that was happening, she said that she wanted to go talk to Jay in private. I was foolishly hoping this would be her admitting to going too far and apologizing. And though I wasn't privy to the conversation, she at least had the tact to not start yelling at him again. I feel confident that that wasn't the case. Once all was said and done and Jay was out of the house, she walked into the living room on the phone with Jay's girlfriend, evidently trying to get her to let her talk to him, but she wasn't letting her. At which point she started hurling insults at the poor girl, calling her a whore who was stealing him away from her. This grown-ass, 40-year-old woman was yelling at a girl half her age because she wouldn't let her boyfriend's abusive mom speak to him. So, fast forward to today. From how I understand, Jay still refuses to speak to her, and good for him because he's braver than me. Unfortunately, I'm too afraid of conflict to be able to take a firm stance against her. I even went with her to Thanksgiving the other week just for the sake of not rocking the boat. That said, I have distanced her otherwise. I haven't visited her other than for Thanksgiving, and I've made it a point to not speak to her unless she contacts me first. Still, I know that I'm being too easy on her for what she did. I'm hoping the next time something like this happens, 'cause I just know it will, I'll have the balls to cut her off properly. But yeah, that's all I have to say.
This mom took entitlement to a whole new level. After her son forgot to refill gas in her car, she threatened to take his car away, the one he needed for work. When he finally had enough and decided to leave, she didn't stop there. She called his girlfriend a whore and blamed her for stealing him away. Instead of owning her toxic behavior, she doubled down, pushing her son out of her life. Honestly, good for him for cutting ties. Some people don't realize that respect is a two-way street, even when it comes to family.
Telling toxic parents I will be spending Christmas Eve with boyfriend's family. I have posted on here a bit before explaining my situation with my boyfriend and my parents. But long story short, they hate him and refuse to accept any part of opening up to our relationship. In the process of low contact and moving out of their house, so I'm just trying to roll with the punches while I'm living with them. Today, I accepted my BFS family invite to their Christmas Eve party. I 100% want to go, and I'm too excited to spend time with them since they make me feel so welcome and happy, but I know my parents will go ballistic. I have not spent a holiday with a significant other ever in my lifetime. A few have invited me in the past, which I rejected, said I'm not able to because of family. Others have had similar experiences with their families, and we agreed it's easier to go alone and maybe revisit it if we got engaged, haha. So not only is this a first, it's also with someone they absolutely despise. I also know me not being at my family Christmas Eve will bring up questions and force my parents to talk about my boyfriend, unless they lie, lol. I'm planning to spend actual Christmas with my family, but we do celebrate the day before as well, so I know they will make a big deal out of it. I'm already mentally preparing for the storm that's going to come out of this, but any advice on how to prepare for this will be so helpful. And I know I'm an adult, and realistically, I can do these things without feeling scared or guilty. But this thread has helped me so much with my confidence and reassurance that I am okay to do these things and not a terrible person. Pretty much after the holidays, I am also trying to move out ASAP once the right listing comes. I've said this before, but I would rather not have everything blow up more than it has with my parents. I know that the chances of this ending with a calm and respectful conversation is slim to none. I seem to be reaching the top of the hill and will need all the strength and support as I get to the top and reach a point where I live alone, set boundaries, and can breathe. I'm trying to come up with a game plan for all of this, but it's all so new to me.
Choosing to spend Christmas Eve with your boyfriend's family shouldn't be a big deal. But with toxic parents, it's like walking into a storm. They hate your boyfriend, refuse to accept your relationship, and you know they'll go ballistic. But here's the thing, you're an adult, and you have every right to spend the holidays where you feel loved and welcome. It's tough, especially when guilt and fear creep in, but standing your ground now will only make you stronger. The fact that you're planning to move out soon and set boundaries is a big step. You're not a terrible person for wanting peace and happiness. You're just choosing what's best for you. Stay strong and keep moving forward.
Out of touch parents. I hate my parents. They're both extremely immature. My dad is narcissistic and my mom is worse because she blindly follows him. She has never had an original thought of her own. My parents recently moved to Southern California. My dad has gotten better because he drinks less. My mom, on the other hand, has gotten worse. She joined an adult sorority. She is always talking about rushing and getting a big. It is so embarrassing how out of touch she is. She hasn't worked in 27 years and has no responsibilities besides herself. She plays tennis all day and now has her adult sorority. She's also addicted to shopping. It's never enough for her. She says the women in SoCal are always looking at her shoes and judging her and feels the need to constantly buy more. My mom's mentality has digressed to a 15-year-old girl since moving here. She spends thousands of dollars a week. Meanwhile, I got laid off a year ago. I've been struggling, and living off of the 20K I managed to save up. My parents drop hundreds of dollars constantly traveling, eating out every day. They just bought 2 Airbnbs in Florida and Colorado. They laugh at me that I can't find a job. The market's been extremely rough, and they have no idea. My mom asked me what I wanted for Christmas yesterday, and I said rent money. My mom just responded, praying you get your job soon. I don't even want to go for Christmas.
This mom is living in a fantasy world, obsessed with her adult sorority and shopping addictions, while her child struggles to find a job and make ends meet. The fact that she's spending thousands on frivolous things while her kid is barely scraping by shows just how out of touch they are. When she asked for Christmas wishes and the response was rent money, her dismissal with a simple, praying you get your job soon, is a slap in the face. It's heartbreaking, and honestly, no wonder the OP doesn't want to spend Christmas with such toxic, oblivious parents.
I told my mom I'm moving with my husband. Hello, this is a bit of a vent. I made a thread few months ago about me moving to Mexico with my husband for various good reasons, and this were our decision together, obviously. My mom never let me alone since I moved to H30 from my city, and that's been 3 months I've left. There wasn't any day where she didn't let me alone, and to be honest, it made me hate her more, and I felt that I wasn't living all with my husband. A lot of people on the other thread told me to block her to give it a break, which isn't bad in my opinion, but I didn't do it because she always made me feel bad for her, as a sort of manipulation from her part. Today I told my mother about moving to Mexico. I didn't want to tell her too late, but not too early. Today I was reading to tell her, but it might be a bit bad from my part since I told her over text. Honestly, she gives my fear. Her reaction was quite lot bad, obviously. She sent voice message almost screaming, crying, which was very dramatic and childish from her part. She said that I cannot go to Mexico, that I'm her only daughter, and she doesn't want to lose me. I forgot to mention, I've never present my husband in person to her. I know it's bad, but I'm starting to think it's better to get her out of my life. Right now I feel so guilty to go to Mexico, even though I want to be with my husband. And yes, I will go there. It's her constant manipulation that make me feel bad, and I can't get her out of my life. I'm writing all this because I'm really trying to feel not guilty and I need help so I don't feel bad. Thank you for reading this thread. Edit. She threatened to come to my house, and I don't feel like it's safe for my husband or me.
Some parents just can't respect boundaries, and this mom is a prime example. After constantly manipulating and guilt-tripping her daughter, she reacts dramatically when she learns about the move to Mexico, threatening to come over and make her life miserable. It's heartbreaking to see how toxic this dynamic is, especially when the daughter feels guilty for wanting to live her life with her husband. She deserves to be happy and free from the constant guilt and manipulation, but unfortunately, cutting toxic parents out is often the hardest part of healing. No one should feel guilty for choosing a peaceful life with their partner. Well, there you have it. Today's stories show just how toxic family dynamics can be. From the entitled mother trying to take her son's car away and blaming his girlfriend, to the parent who can't respect boundaries and manipulate their way through every situation. It's clear that some people will stop at nothing to make others feel guilty. But as we saw with the brave daughter moving to Mexico with her husband, and the one trying to set boundaries with her out-of-touch parents, it's so important to stand your ground and prioritize your happiness. Remember, you're not alone in these struggles, and it's okay to choose peace over guilt. If you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment with your thoughts. Stay strong, stay fine, and I'll see you in the next one.